Hey family, welcome back to our channel. I did change shirts just in case. And I think I'm going to have some of this grape juice that I hauled the other day in one of my beautiful glasses. I don't even know what this tastes like. But I want to feel fancy in this video because this necklace is doing the most. So it needs to have something fancy to go along with it. Let me scoot you back just a little bit. Right there. I think you can see me. I think the lighting is not too bad. I'm going to change that light out, by the way, because it's not bright enough for me. Anyway, so today's vlog, if you will, or chit chat that I want to discuss. Even though I don't need one. I'm being real extra. Okay, let me get me a napkin coaster, even though this ain't sweating, but I just want to feel like, let's see what this tastes like. Again, this came from Home Goods. I don't know what. Oh, I would definitely be going back buying every one that I see. That is so good. It's non-alcoholic, by the way. It's just 100% Italian grapes, non-alcoholic, no sugar. It's all natural, and it is delicious. And it says to serve chilled, but hey, whatever. Anywho, let's girl chat about topics that we typically don't talk about or whatever. We normally stay along the lines of home decor and decorating and other fun stuff like that. But today I wanted to switch it up a little bit because, again, since I've been here on YouTube, I've been semi-transparent with my life. Like, this home decor, so to speak, channel has turned into more of a Sharon's lifestyle channel. I take you guys to work with me. Sometimes I take you guys out shopping or vlogging with BFF or just different things that encompasses my life. So that being said, this is not just a home decor channel. It is everything lifestyle, everything dealing with me, Sharon, per se, okay? And then you guys have been invited into my life as my family, and you've accepted me back into yours as your family. That's the intro, which is long, and that's just what it is. So this is going to be a different type of video. Different type. And we can dialogue about it down below in the comments. I love a good dialogue. I love a good back and forth. I love a good positive back and forth. And I want to continue to uplift each other as women. We really do need to focus on uplifting each other, okay? And being womanly about you, okay? So this video is more or less about knowing your value and knowing your worth, okay? In general, as a whole. So that can run from relationship with husband, spouse, kids, jobs, family members, whomever, okay? Just knowing your value and knowing your worth, demanding respect, and also giving it. So knowing their worth, knowing their value, and giving respect. Treating people the way you want to be treated. Now, we all know we live in a world where that is just not, that's just not the world we live in, okay? We live amongst people who do not think and have as good hearts as we would like, okay? We understand that. And those people we will pray for. We will pray that the Lord will touch their heart and change them in some sort of way. And if they can't be helped, then definitely that person does not belong in your life. Especially if they're bringing you down, bringing you negativity, not enhancing you in any way. Okay, let's get serious about this because I keep it real. You guys know that I keep it real. Some of you may think, oh, she keep it too real. Some of you love the realness, the uncutness. This is who I am in real life. So turning the camera on is not going to I'm not going to downplay myself for the purposes of this channel. No, I'm not going to do that. If I came at you real from the beginning, I'm going to end with you real to the end, basically. So what I want to talk about is emotions, women and our emotions, relationship stuff, kind of, sort of. And again, knowing your value and your worth. And where's all this coming from, Sharon? I feel like it's going somewhere. Like, I feel like it's not just a girls chit chat as we always have. I feel like I know what you're saying because I'm reading y'all mind through the camera. Okay. So just to give you just a little bit, and some of you may think, Sharon, that's too personal. You shouldn't do that. No, this is real life. This is my life. This is what I choose to do. Okay. And I'm sharing it because you never know what someone else is going through, what their thought process is, and where they are. And oftentimes, women, we're too silent when things need to be said. I'm not her. So I'm going to be the voice today for all of you that are silent and in a situation. Okay. So you guys, a lot of you guys had asked me, which I'd already told the story before, of how Monte and I ended up getting married a second time. We did a Q&A several months back, like last year. We did 2 Q&As, and we actually covered how we ended up back married, time number 2. Okay. And time number 2 has only been, it was a year, April the 13th, made 1 year for round 2 for us. Okay. Monte and I love each other. We love each other. I love him. I know he loves me. But sometimes when we as women allow our flesh to choose men or significant others, females, or what have you, for us, and we don't pray about it first, and we don't wait for God to send us the man or the woman of our dreams, we let our flesh do it for us. And that's what I did with Monte. I fell in love with him the moment I met him. Like, literally fell in love with him the moment that I met him. Marriage number 1. I didn't wait. I didn't pray about it. You know, God, is he the one? I didn't ask for clarity. I wasn't in that place then, like I am now. And so we ended up being married about 3 to 4 years after dating. We got married, and shortly after getting married, our happy honeymoon stage lasted a very short time before things started to get real. Real as in very stressful, lots and lots of negative energy between the two of us. No communication, living in the same home together and not speaking to each other for days. When it was bad, in that sense, it was really bad. Now, I don't know what it's like to actually be an abused woman, like physically beat on. I don't think I could ever be her. I would probably be sharing the story with an inmate. So, that being said, I could never be the battered woman. However, emotional abuse, feeling neglected, feeling unworthy, feeling worthless can be equally as damaging to a woman, in my opinion. In my opinion, and again, I don't know what it's like to be actually physically beat on, but I can imagine this could be up there with that. When you are emotionally damaged or scarred because it's always in you and it's always eating at you. And a lot of times we love so hard, or at least I know I do. I love extremely hard. Anyone that knows me, my friends, I love hard. And I loved, I don't want to say loved, it just sounds like past tense. I loved in the first go round. I did. I loved Monte hard. Really, really hard. And I endured a lot of emotional abuse from Monte. And a lot of that came from both of us, not just him, but myself as well, not really knowing how to be a good wife in a way, not forcing the communication, not demanding that we don't go to bed angry, not somebody breaking the ice because there was too much pride, where you're going to sit down and we're going to talk about this and get it over with. We're going to talk about it. We can agree to disagree. It was none of that. Once we shut down amongst ourselves, we shut down until whenever somebody decided, okay, I've had enough. And that could be days. Okay? And that went on for years. Years. But I loved him and I continued. And what made me stay was Monte as long as I did the first go round is because I was waiting to meet the man that I met in the beginning. Okay, I was waiting for him to resurface and come back. Okay, that's what I was holding on for and hoping for. But the longer I stayed in that marriage, the more miserable I got. He was unhappy. I was unhappy. At the time the kids were here, they were affected by our unhappiness and situations. And I would always try and hide our arguments or hide our negative energy so that the children wouldn't see it, especially having daughters. Okay. I would try and paint this picture for my girls' sake that Monte and I were always in a good place. Even though they were smart girls and they knew that wasn't so. They knew their mama wasn't happy. But I did not want them to think that this was a pattern that I was creating and that that's what they were to do when they grew up and became women. So I tried to hide a lot, conceal a lot, stay private, didn't share a lot with even BFF, and we talk about everything. Everything. I hid a lot of stuff from her because I just was more embarrassed than I think I was anything. Embarrassed. Didn't want to talk about it, okay? Fast forward, I came to a point where I decided I was tired of feeling worthless with the man that I said my vows to. And I proposed to him, let's get a divorce. Let's go our separate ways. I'm not happy. You're not happy. What's the point? He agreed. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. And that's what happened. We divorced our very first time. And I'll never forget it because it was November the 2nd, 2009. And how I remember it so significantly is because the day of court, because I represented myself. I didn't hire a lawyer or anything. I did all the paperwork myself with the help of legal aid, basically. Because we didn't have assets to split and, all the stuff that most married couples have, joint bank accounts, all that stuff. We didn't have any of that stuff to divide, which was also another reason why I never really felt like in our first marriage we were whole. God wasn't present in our marriage then. He wasn't present. I didn't really seek him until the end. And I'm sharing a story with you that very few know. And I'm sharing this story with you for a reason because it was placed on my heart. And I feel like somebody, I don't know, needs to hear it. And I want to let it out. Okay? So, God was not in our lives. He wasn't present. Because Monte believes a certain way and I believe a certain way. And I think in a way that made us very unevenly yoked. And it caused a lot of problems. Now, I didn't start seeking God until the end. Actually, the day of our divorce, which was November the 2nd, 2009, that morning, I was hoping with every fiber of my body, every fiber in my body, I was hoping that he would stop me and say, look, this done gone too far. Ain't nobody going to court. Ain't nobody getting divorced. No. I wanted the feeling that Monte was fighting for me. fighting for our relationship, because I felt like from day one, I rode so hard with him as a girlfriend and then as a wife. And to just walk out the door and drive myself to court knowing that I was closing this chapter of my life was like death. Literally, I've never felt pain the way I felt it that day driving to court, because my grandmother, my mother's mother, was the first true death that I had ever dealt with as an adult. Like, family members have passed away in my family, but as an adult, she was the only one that I've ever felt what true grief was. That feeling of just nobody can touch it. You can't explain it. It can't be soothed. Time never really does heal it. I miss her every day. I thought there's no pain in this world greater than the loss of somebody that you love so, so much. That's what I thought. But on my way to court, I felt as though I was reliving her death. I felt like something had died that meant a lot to me. And that was my marriage. It was dead and gone. And it had been progressively dying for months. And when it got to the core of it, when it was about to actually explode and go down, it got real, because the entire time as it was dwindling, I thought somehow, some way, something would happen and boom, we'd be saved. That was just a bump in the road. We'll have a story to tell and things will be back to normal. But nope, I drove to court. And when he didn't show up for court, I was excited because I thought, oh, she can't grant a divorce. The judge, that lady judge, I said, she can't grant a divorce unless two people are here. So I didn't know this because I handled it all by myself, so I didn't have a lawyer to explain it to me. Okay? So that's what I thought. Well, when she called my name, you know, for my time to come up or what have you, and called his name and he didn't show up, I was kind of standing there twiddling my thumbs thinking, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. There still might be a chance, right? Still might be a chance. She said, so he's not here. I said, looked around. She said, he's not answering. Okay, he's not here. What would you like to have put in your divorce decree? And I was like, what does that mean? Divorce decree? What does that mean? She said, what would you like? He's not here to speak up for himself, so what would you like? And I said, I want my last name back. And the reason I asked for my last name back is because that was the last thing he said to me. Give me back my last name. And so that's what I asked for. Again, we didn't have assets to split, cars, houses, money, anything like that. So it was like cut and dry. I walked away with my original birth name, basically. And so it took a lot. It took around 7 days, I think, to process the paperwork and to get it finalized, stamped, judge signs off on it, and it's public records in the court system or whatever. I went to work. I went to work that night at the hospital. I was at the hospital at this time. I went to work as a secretary on the night shift. Like nothing had ever, like I had just left the courtroom, had just gotten a divorce from the man that I loved with every ounce of my body. I went to work like a regular person, and I tried to be as regular as I possibly could. Like I just tried to be so regular. I was working in a hospital with sick people, so I didn't want to carry my sad energy in the hospital with people already being sad and dealing with sick family members. I didn't want to do that. Okay? Sip. I hope y'all got y'all a drink because it's getting real. Okay? I'm just sharing my life with y'all. And this is so freaking good. I cannot describe these grapes right here are bombdiggity.com. So, I work the remainder of the night, bottled up on the inside, about to burst. When I got off work that night, I got in my car in the parking deck. And I drove home, and I knew he was still living here. He was still actually living here in the house. And you may be thinking, well, how did that happen if, because you got to be separated or whatever. Well, when I first presented the idea to Monte that I wanted a divorce, I said, look, I want this to be expedited as quickly as possible. Let me have the papers served at your mama house, like we've been apart for a year, because emotionally I felt like we were separated anyway. Even though we were living under the same roof, and the law says you must, not be in the same dwelling or what have you, and separated apart from each other with no contact, sexual or otherwise, for 1 year for it to be a full separation or whatever, And he was cool with that. He was like, okay, have me served at my mama's house. I'm down or whatever. And so he was served the papers at his mom's house, although he was still living here, because the plan was that he would be moving out like in the following January. He wanted time to stay here until the following January before he left. So we were actually going to be living under the same roof as divorcees from November to January. And although that didn't seem like a lot of time, and I felt that I owed him that, at least to get himself together and get him a place, something had transpired in the month of December that prompted me to say, oh no, bro, you got to go now. Like, right now. So we didn't make it to January. He had to go in December. He had to go. Like, goodbye, adios, amigos. I don't care where you go. And so he moved out. He left. He went on with his life. And I attempted to go on with mine. This is why I'm sharing this story with you, because you never know. You go throughout the day or your life and you think, I'm normal. I'm not a crazy person. I could get crazy. I could act crazy. I could flip the switch. I can. But I'm just not physically a crazy person. You know what I mean? I'm not her. And we live our lives like that. So I didn't know what depression was, because for a long time I thought depression was just something people came up with just to stay in bed all day, or just not to function like normal people. That's what I thought depression was. I had no idea how real and how physical and how mental depression was until after he moved out in December. I noticed I started to call out at work in the month of January. Like, I just couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't shower. I didn't eat. I would get up and get the kids ready for school. I would go back to bed, and I would be in bed when they came home from school. And as much as I like light, I never opened the blinds. But I thought that was normal. Like, I'm just being normal right now. I had no idea that I was sinking into a depression. No idea. Didn't know what it looked like. Didn't recognize it. I just knew I'm okay as long as I'm in this bed. I'm all right. Like, I'm okay. One of my daughters, I can't remember which one it was, or maybe it was all three, noticed that you're home when we get home from school, and that's not normal. And on the weekends, we used to do stuff, but now you're in the bed with the door closed, with the lights off, like, what's going on? And they started putting two and two together, and they was like, look, Ma, snap out of it, get up, take a shower, get your divaness back, and please bring our mama back, basically. I was sinking into this dark hole, and I did not even realize it. Had no clue, right? So okay, I'm getting myself together. I'm thinking, okay, my daughters are saying it. I don't want them to witness this. Like, I don't want them to see their mom like this or whatever. So I started slowly easing back into work. Okay, so I kind of took like a leave of absence, so to speak, because my supervisor advised that I did so that I wouldn't lose my job, basically, with just calling out. So I took like a short leave of absence. So I go back to work, and I'm at work for 2 days. 2 days. I was the secretary at the hospital, and I was the secretary that was responsible for putting doctors' orders into the computers. I was the one responsible for letting the nurses know or the CNAs know when their patients needed something. I answered the call bell, answered the phone. I did the discharges. I did admissions for patients that came on the floor. I discharged the patients through paperwork when they left the floor. That was my job. So I was the face of our unit, basically. I was the first thing you saw when you walked up to the desk, okay? And I worked, at this time I'm at work early morning, I'm early a.m. morning. So the morning doctor rushes, it's like crazy, it's chaotic in the mornings with doctors everywhere, nurses getting reports. It's just like so chaotic at the nurses station. You got doctors that are trying to see all their patients. They're reporting off to other doctors. They're writing orders. They got orders they want done right now. They're slamming charts. It's just the world of healthcare and being a secretary. So I was used to it and had been used to it for 8 years or so. Well, in my not knowing that I was about to suffer a mental breakdown, didn't even, like, what? Mental breakdown? Me strong as she is? Her? No. Okay, yeah, I went through the little in the bed, not showering, not eating, not just no desire to go on in life, like really. And it didn't hit me, like I said, until after he was actually gone. And I knew, it's like I came to terms with the fact that it is over now, and now what do I do? So there was this doctor who I saw all the time. He always came, he always had patients on our floor, and he did nothing no different than he had been doing the last 5 years, okay? But because I didn't know that I had so much boggled up inside of me, waiting to explode, I was literally a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. And I didn't even know it. Because I kind of felt normal, and I acted normal, and I wanted everybody to think I was normal. And what had happened is, as they always do, he was in a hurry, filled out his chart. He needed a patient that needed something done right then and there. So all stat orders that mean do right now take precedence over any other orders or labs or whatever. And so when he tossed the chart onto the desk in a hurry to get down the hall to his next patient, the chart, girl, it literally barely slid over to me, and it just like, boop, just barely bumped my arm, barely. With me being a ticking time bomb and not knowing when I was going to explode or that I was even going to explode, I grabbed that chart up, I caught him down, and I slammed that chart so hard into this doctor's chest. And I told him, don't you ever throw another chart at me. Everybody's looking at this point and they're thinking, what is really going on? What is wrong with our sweet Sharon? So some of the newer nurses, scared girls or whatever, do we need to call security? Do we need security to come up here? And like the girls who have been working with me for years was like, no, ain't nobody calling security on her. Like, no. If the doctor good with it and went on about his business, what you calling security for? Like, they was going to have me escorted out. Like, I'm a threat now. So my supervisor came out, and I went in her office, and I sat down, and as soon as I sat down, I just started crying, basically. I sat down, and I started crying. And she was like, Sharon, what's going on? You took a leave of absence. You never did explain what was going on. She was like, just talk to me. because this is not you. And I've noticed the times that you have been here, you haven't been yourself. Like, you haven't been the Sharon I know. So what's going on? So I tell her, I got a divorce back in November. And I don't know what's going on. Like, I couldn't explain it. I said, I just feel like I'm coming undone at the seams. Like, I feel like my life, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know how to pick up the pieces and go on. I just don't know. And I said, and I understand what I just done was very wrong, very inappropriate. And I'm cool if you about to fire me. Like, hey, it is what it is. And she was like, no. I'm not looking to fire you. You're basically, it sounds to me like you're just boggled down, and I want to drive you over to occupational therapy and just have them look at you, talk to you, and see where we can go from there. If he's okay with not trying to have you fired or what have you, let's get the help that you need, because this is a traumatic event that you just went through that you are dealing with. So went to occupational health, talked to that nurse, yada, yada, yada. So in order for me to keep my job at that time, I had to take these anger management classes, right? And I had to do it for 2 weeks. So I had to go to these classes at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they were from like 8 to 2. Every morning at 8 o'clock, and I'm in these classes with people that really did have mental illnesses that were way out of their control. Schizophrenia, bipolar, manic depression, just all these types of people. I'm in the room with them, and I'm thinking, I don't freaking belong here. All I did was get a divorce. Like, what? It's like, seriously, I'm in here, he's talking to himself. Oh, here, I'm scared to sit beside him. Like, it was just like crazy. And we would have group sessions first, and then you had one-on-ones with the psychologist, and then whatever she noted or he noted, they passed it on to the actual psychiatrist, who then did his evaluation and determined who needed more medication or treatment or whatever the case was or whatever, right? And so I was talking to my the psychologist, and of course the first thing she asked me was, did I feel like killing myself? And I told her, no. I said, I don't feel like killing myself, committing suicide, but I do feel like killing him. So I said, next thing I know, I'm in the actual presence of the psychiatrist, right? I'm in his office now. So I'm thinking, what in the world is going on? So he got his pad and pen out. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking TV, right? You go see your psychiatrist or your shrink or whatever, and you lay back on the leather couch. Tell him your life story from when you came out of your mama's womb. See that on TV? That's what I thought, okay? I ain't see no couch in his office. It was a desk and 2 chairs. So I'm sitting in there, and I'm thinking, feeling like I'm at the principal's office, to be honest with you, and not a psychiatrist. So he wanted to know, what's going on, start from the beginning, yada, yada, yada. So I tell him about me and Monte's marriage from start to end and from there to there, right? So he said, you are suffering. First of all, you are depressed, severely. And you are about to, or already have, or in the midst of a nervous breakdown. So I'm like, well, what does that look like? So that I'll know, can I stop the nervous breakdown? Like, what can I do? He pulled out his pen and pad and started writing prescriptions. How you sleeping at night? Not at all. Okay, write your prescription. So you don't feel like committing suicide, but you do feel like harming your husband, your ex-husband. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, let's write you a prescription for that. Just, he just script. Here you go. Take these to your pharmacist. So I'm thinking, okay, that's going to cure me? I didn't know my value, ladies. I didn't know my value, and I didn't know my worth. at that time because it was depleted through me trying so hard to make Monte see me for me. See me, I'm your wife, fight for me. Those people aren't important that you have put in front of me. I'm here, I'm right here. Like, that's how I felt. So, I'm thinking medication is going to cure this? Seriously? Okay, whatever. So again, at that point, I didn't like really taking medications, but he said it's going to help me. Okay, whatever, fine. So I'm taking these meds, okay, and I more so felt like a zombie out of the apocalypse than I did my problem being cured. I mean, I slept a little bit better because of those meds. My brain wasn't kind of like all over the place like it was prior to the medications, but I was just kind of like on autopilot. Literally on autopilot. I decided randomly one day, just out the blue, okay, I don't want to live in North Carolina no more. I want to move to Atlanta. So I went to Atlanta. Now at this point, my job was set up like this. When I came out of the anger management courses and all that stuff, and was just specifically saying my psychiatrist, I went and took what they call a Baylor shift. So I worked Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 12-hour days, but I got paid for working 40 hours for giving up your weekends, okay? So in the midst of taking all these medications and really not thinking clearly, okay, they did more clogging of my brain and then they did clearing my brain up and solving my problem, okay? Because I, idiot tell self, decided that I was going to move to Atlanta, Georgia, okay? Again, not knowing my worth, not knowing my value, not respecting myself, basically. I was literally not thinking of suicide, but I was living the life of a person that could easily have been found dead, okay? So I drive to Atlanta during the week, because I'm off all week except for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I find me an apartment in Lithonia, Georgia, right across from the Stonecrest Mall for any of y'all that live in that area. Providence something apartments, okay? I go in, I apply for an apartment, they approve me. I'm thinking, okay, I'm moving to Atlanta. I'm with the kids get out of school, so I'm going to maintain here and down there in Atlanta. Okay, like I'm big balling or whatever. At that time, I had a big old Escalade that ate up gas, okay. I was crazy. The pills did not help me. They made me crazier than I knew I really was at that time. And I wasn't crazy. I was just an emotional, unstable wreck because I did not know how to handle that divorce after the fact. It was so bad. This is how bad it was for me at that time in my life. I had the apartment in Lithonia. I had the house here. I put this house on the market because once it sells, I can figure out when the lease is up here at this apartment and get us a house down here in Atlanta. Out of sight, out of mind. I don't want to see Monte. I'll be good to go. Well, at that time, the housing market wasn't that good for selling houses. I mean, you could probably buy a good, decent house at that time, but selling them, not so much so. So I was driving from Lithonia, which was roughly 5 hours, to go to work on Fridays. I would leave Thursday nights, drive all the way through, and go straight to the job, work, stay here at my house, do my weekend, back in the car, back all the way down to Lithonia, Georgia, okay? And then I realized while taking those medications that I started to feel even more weird while I was on them. So I said, let me look up what am I taking? Like, I should have did that first. At this point, I hadn't been on these meds for about a month or so. So I look up all the different types of meds, and it was several. It was medications that treated people with seizures. It was medication that treated people that were schizophrenic. Medications that treated people for things that I had never even known existed. Yet I was taking those medicines. And the side effects to those medications were even worse than what they were treating the person for, i.e. me who was taking them. So I was like, I'm not taking these medications no more. No, I don't have seizures and I'm not doing it. Not knowing that psychotic medications, you can't just take yourself off of those meds once you got them in your system. You literally have to be weaned off of them. I didn't know that. So I was like, I ain't taking the meds. It was two of them. It was two of them, though, that I did hold on to because I was like, well, I like how these made me feel. But the other ones, I ain't taking them. I would get in my car. I would be in the bed in Lithonia, Georgia, 11, 12 o'clock at night. And I would start thinking about Monte. And at this point, Monte had a girlfriend. He had done got him a new house. And I would be laying down in that bed all the way down there in Georgia, and I would be thinking about him. The girls were still up here because they was going to complete school. So they were still living up here in North Carolina. Fully medicated. Fully medicated with none but God. Nothing but God. Nothing but the grace of God. I would get in that Escalade, might have my pajamas on, might put on some clothes, might not. Might not even put on no shoes. I would drive 5 hours and sit outside of Monte's house and plot. Literally, plot how I was going to end it for him and for her. At this time, his mother was living with him. And so I didn't want her to be a part of it. But I knew I needed him to feel as much pain as I did. That's how I felt at that time. Calculated. I could seriously be telling this story from prison. It's amazing how God works, though. Because while I was sitting outside his house, just stalking the house, plotting, if you're trying to figure it out, of all people, his mother was outside, had came outside for something, and spotted the truck. And she said, baby, I don't know what you're thinking, and I don't know what you're about to do. But you need to think about them 3 babies that need you. And she walked back in the house. So I cut the truck on, and I drove on back here, okay? That's when I sought God. When I reached that line, that fine line you hear people talk about, the point of no return, the fatal attraction stories, I walked that line so fine that had God not sent her outside for whatever reason, I legit would be telling this story to an inmate in my cell. Because I had it all planned out. How I was going to do it. And when I got home, I just dropped to my knees. And I said, God, I am not myself anymore. I am broke. I am broken. I am broken. I am broken. I am at my lowest point, and I don't know which way to go. I have no idea what to do. That's when the devil started to step in. And he said to me, the devil, he said, I have an out for you. Take all the medications you got. And I literally felt like I was in a war between the Lord and the devil. I could hear God saying, hold on, my child. Hold on. Just hold on. I'm going to see you through it. While I got the devil saying, look at all the pills. Take them pills. It'll be over so fast. Take them. to the point where I laid them out. I laid all the pills out on my nightstand. The kids were asleep. And the only reason, when I went to scoop them up in my hand to take them, God said, do you want your children to find you like that? Is that how you want your kids to wake up and find their mama, who they adore, who they think the world of? That's what you want? And I flushed them down the toilet. Flushed them down the toilet. From that moment on, I have been as humble as I could possibly be within myself, and gracious to God for stepping in my life when I thought my only out was death. He stepped right in and gradually started guiding me back to who Sharon was. It was a slow process, but it was a process I needed to go through, because through that process, he also taught me what a wife is supposed to look like, what a wife is supposed to do, what your husband was supposed to look like, what your husband was supposed to do. He even told me, you chose him. You did that. I had to let you go through it. You didn't let me pick him for you. You chose that man. So I'm with you, but you need to go through this because you got to learn the lesson, basically. To which I did. I got to a place, it took a while, but I got to a place of peace, serenity. I was happy. My home, it was like a dark cloud was in this house. I didn't even want to be in here when Monte was here. And even after he left, it was still kind of lingering. And it was just like, I came home from work one day and it was tears of joy though. And it just hit me as soon as I opened up the door. It was like the most refreshing energy in this house that I have ever felt. I can't even describe it to you. And I knew then God is present in my life. He has saw me through it. I was at peace. My heart didn't feel like. I knew then that God was with me. And I was so thankful. I was so thankful. He taught me what my value was. He taught me what my worth was. He taught me never, ever, ever let a person, I don't care who it is, husband, kids, mama, daddy, whoever it is, you never let a person devalue you as a human being and make you question who you are as a person, especially when you know you are a good person, or at least try to do good all the time. You never give anyone that much power over your life to make you feel like you are worth nothing. Never do that. Never, ever, ever. Women that are in abusive relationships that I can't physically relate to, that's the same type of control that they have over you. They batter you and then they apologize and soothe it and band-aid it and it's never going to happen again until the next time. And then for some women, they're not lucky enough to say, hey, I was able to get out. I have a cousin right now in a grave because she wasn't lucky enough to get out. Okay? And so at that moment, that's what I began to see. So I began to pray more and conversations with the Lord and just really putting him first in my life. And things started looking up for me like right away. So I started dating again, got on the dating scene. That's how I was dating, meeting all kind of men or whatever. Some duds, some well-to-do guys or whatever. But my heart wanted what it wanted, and it still had Monte in it. And it didn't get Monte completely out of my heart I'm going to tell you when Monte got out of my heart. I've always loved him. And I always wanted him to be okay. But Monte went through an episode while we were still married of a lot of passing out, fainting spells, blah, blah. I think I might have shared this with you before. Doctors couldn't figure out what the problem was with him. Healthy guy. Why are you just passing out? And all the workups that they done came back to prove nothing was wrong. Everything was clean bill of health. But something obviously was going on for this healthy man to just randomly faint. And it wasn't syncope. It was his heart. So now to this day, Monte walks around with a defibrillator in his heart. However, I was an over-the-road truck driver when I received a phone call from his mother. I was his ex-wife. I wasn't married to him. We had been divorced. Okay, fam, so let's pick up where we left off. The camera died yesterday, so this is another day, but I did want to keep on my fabulous necklace, darling. Anywho, what I was saying before I was cut off by the dead battery was that my aha moment, I guess you could say, at that time or whatever, when he was in the hospital and I was by his bedside for 3+ days, maybe, sitting up in a reclining chair, very uncomfortable, but meeting his every needs, basically. And I had asked him that day because he wasn't really eating hospital food. And so I asked him, I said, pick anything you want to eat. I will go get it for you. No matter what it is, I'll go get it. No, I'm not hungry. I'm good. Well, about an hour later, in the door walks an older white lady, which was one of the women he used to train, and one of the ones that would be in this wine circuit, if you will, where they, meet up at restaurants, a group of them, and enjoy wine or whatever. And she had all his favorite foods. He asked me to clean off his bedside table, all the stuff, so that they could set up the food to eat, basically. And that's what I done. I set the table up so that he could, get his food. And what is this shirt doing weird? Stop it. Stop it. And she said, oh, I didn't know you was here, Sharon. I didn't know you was here, I started to pack up my laptop, my stuff that I came straight from the plane with. Put it in a bag. I didn't say bye, nothing. Walked out the door. As I was getting on the elevator, his mom and brother was getting off the elevator. And I was like, you leaving? And I said, yeah, it's time. So it's like, is everything okay? I said, yeah, it is. And I got on the elevator and I went on. Okay? Called my dispatcher. I told him, hey, look, I'm ready to roll. I shouldn't have been here. I shouldn't have been here. I'm an idiot. But I just followed my heart because that's the type of person I am. When I still have more of that awesome juice from last night as well. And it does taste better chilled, by the way. So that was when I really saw him. Okay, you're at your sickest and I'm your ex-wife. I come in town to be here for you. And he actually called me when I left, like later on, and wanted to know, why did I leave with an attitude? What did he do? What's the problem? I said, there is no problem. No problem whatsoever. Okay? None. I'm good over here. Got back on the truck and I took off. It's very hard. It's very hard when you have a history with someone and you love that person. It's very hard to get that person out of your system. Do you know what I mean? It's very hard. And it's even harder to do when you love hard. And when I imagined my life, I imagined him forever being a part of it until one of us died. Like, to me, he was the love of my entire being, my life. And so here we are now, rekindled old stuff by way of him telling me, you know, making a bunch of promises, setting expectations for himself that he just could not meet. And so here we are today, a month after our 1-year anniversary, already talking about divorce and separation and divorce and just literally going our separate ways. And while it is still a hard pill to swallow, it really is, because I know the type of person that I am and what I can give and how I love. It is a hard pill to swallow. However, she knows her worth and she knows her value and she respects herself, and that is what I demand. And if you can't meet the most simplest of needs, because I'm probably one of the most simplest women when it comes to things. Like, I'm not the name brand handbag girl. I'm not the hottest shoes type of person. I mean, you buy me some home decor, you know what I'm saying, a little gift card, something like that, a little makeup, whatever. I'm her, you know, Netflix and chill. I'm her. Glass of wine every now and then, go out, you know, have fun or whatever. I'm her. I'm not a high maintenance person whatsoever. I'm a budget friendly shopper, and I look like I might be high maintenance. But trust me, the look is on a budget. Okay. It's like, I'm just saying, it's on the budget, and it's all in how you do it. And I carry myself like a classy lady, but I can bring her out if I need to, and I have. You know what I mean? I've been forced to sometimes when I've allowed people to dictate my mood, which not so much now. I don't allow that. And I just really thrive off of positivity and positive energy around me. Like, I crave that like I breathe. You know what I mean? Like, I need that in my life. And I always try to promote that to you, family. Just always, because negative people will come, and 9 times out of 10, people are at their most negative self when they are at their most miserable self. When they do not like where they are in life, they want to dump that off on you. And don't you receive that. Don't receive that. I'm not going to receive that. So I don't want you guys down in the comments. I don't want you to bash them. I don't want you to say, oh my God, Sharon, I'm so sorry to hear that. No. Don't say I'm so sorry. Say, oh, Sharon, congratulations. Because what that means is Sharon won't be here married, feeling single. Sharon can really be single and enjoy her life to the absolute fullest. So it's not a, oh, I feel sorry, or I hate to hear that, or oh my God. No, it's a shout out to you, congratulations, you smart enough to not stick around for it. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how I feel. I can love you, but I can love you from way, way over there. And I can love you without ever seeing you. That's how I feel. And that's where I am in my life right now. I let days go by. Like, my pattern is the exact same typically every single day. I do the exact same thing every single day. And I'm ready to change that part of my life as well. In addition to entrepreneuring and growing and constantly encouraging others to do the same thing, and just being in your presence with my whole happy self. That's nothing. That's nothing. Wounds healed, and they don't last forever. Okay? They do not last forever. I said all that to say to you ladies that may be in a relationship or a situation, on a job or whatever, and you're feeling trapped. Come up with a plan. Have you a plan in place? Execute that plan and follow it through. Don't let fear, which is one of the number one things that will pop up the moment you decide to get strong. Fear will come in and try and take that away. It'll give you a million reasons as to why you shouldn't do that. Don't do that. No. you back fear down, because you are totally capable of the strength that you possess. You just got to know you do. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that, oh, it's just peaches and cream and, oh my God, my life is just going to be so. No, it is a very heartbreaking situation, but more so it's a very disappointing situation that here I am again. And not only that, but this shirt is really trying me right now. Okay. Okay. It's not really, don't get me wrong. I'm a woman, and I'm a woman that loves really hard, and I still love him to this day. Like, I love him to death. I can't think of anything in my brain right this second that he could do or say that would make me change how I feel, because our previous history has spilled back over into our current history. And now you're starting to look like the same person to me. Although you are a good guy, you're a good person, you got a good heart, it's just better given to someone else, because I seem to not get that person. Do you know what I mean? And I'm too good for that. I'm too good. I'm too diva. I'm too fly. What? Are you kidding me? Do you know how many men, like legit men, want to put me on their arm as candy? Like, for real though? Now, I'm not trying to be anybody's arm candy, because I'm total wife material over here. This is a wife you're looking at right here. Okay? Now, it may not be the wife with the right husband that's present, but she's still a wife. I ain't the side chick type of girl. I don't want nobody else's husband, nobody else's man. I ain't her, ain't never been her. I never will be her. Definitely not intentional. And if he try and trick me, is a whole nother story. But to go into it, nope, not me. Not her. I need everybody to be free, clear, drama-free, mess-free, because she ain't got time for that. Okay, I told you, I can't even walk in my closet and shut the door without being claustrophobic, let alone be somewhere in jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, nope. Nobody's going to dictate me in that way. And don't let nobody dictate you in that way. Ladies that are feeling trapped, you don't know what to do, you just feel like you're stuck. Trust me, you're not stuck. You're only as stuck as you allow yourself to be stuck. Okay? And you'll have outside influences. Trust me when I tell you, you'll have outside influences telling you, do this, do that. Try this, try that. Have you tried counseling, Sharon? Have y'all talked to? Yes, we have. We've talked to a pastor before. We tried that. When you're with someone who is totally doing their thing, and they totally have a different way of thinking, and you totally have a different way of thinking, it is not a meeting of the minds. It is a clash of the minds, and it just don't work. It's like oil and water. And you have to understand that that's part of life. Everything is not going to always be right, even if it starts out right, even if it looks right, even if it feels right. Don't mean that it's going to stay right, basically, is what I'm saying. And I'm all for marriage. I'm all for couples that are going. If you're married and you're going through something right now with your spouse, right now, I would encourage anybody to fight. If you love them and you know they love you, and it's just a point or a place that could be rectified, I say fight till you can't do it no more. I'm all for it. But at the same time, if you're her or him, and you've exhausted that, and you're exhausted, and now you're getting chipped away at, you're starting to lose yourself, that's toxic. You need to be able to recognize toxicness as opposed to loving hard and fighting for, because there's a difference. Once it's toxic, it's when it starts to break you down and make you start questioning yourself and looking at yourself in a different light. That's toxic. Fighting for love and for black love. I'm all for black love. I'm all for all of them. Don't get me wrong. But we as black women, black men, we get a bad rep for broken homes and the whole, that's just the life we come from. You know what I mean? And that has come back all the way from slavery. We're not going to even go into history about how it's in our DNA to be the way we are today. But you can change that. You can change that. So I'm all for fighting for love and for fighting for who you love and making it work if it's workable. But if it's toxic to you, that's not workable, it's time to move on at that point. It's time to go. It's time to cut your losses and say goodbye and grab a hold to happiness, which is waiting for you. Who wants to live on this ticking clock we live on in misery or in happiness or feeling worthless or just in a slump? Who wants to do that? Shit, not her. She's not. She's not going to do that. No. That's knowing your value. That's knowing your worth. That's knowing when it's time to say, I've had enough. I love them. I always will. And that's just what it is. So for the message that you who needed it, received it, take it. Do what you will with it. If you didn't need the message, share it with somebody that you know do. Because everybody knows somebody that need to hear when it's time to let go and when it's time to stay and fight. There's a difference. You know it and I know it. Thank you, family, for allowing me to share with you a part of my life that's a huge part of my life, actually, with you. If you watch this video in its entirety, you are a true Sharon, She's So Fabulous, ride or die. You are. And if you watch this video to the very end, I want you to say, hashtag Sharon, you got this. Hashtag Sharon, you got this. It's going to be okay. She's good, okay? Look at her. I'm going to be just fine. Okay, fam? Hugs and kisses. Mwah. I love you guys with all my heart. I appreciate you so freaking much for allowing me, once again, to just be me. Be me, share, encourage, inspire, whatever it is we do over here. Uncut, raw, unedited, the whole bit. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys in another video. I actually wanted to do a DIY. All of y'all DIYers have been to the Dollar Tree again. Here we go. And have bought up all the little silver bowls. I had an idea. You done bought up. The mirror still ain't in. I'm just saying. I'm going to need y'all to stop all these DIYs so I can get mine on. Then y'all can go back to doing yours after I can get all my supplies. I'm just saying. I'll see you guys in another video really, really soon. And thank you so much for allowing me to share my story with you. And I hope it helped someone. Hope it helped you. Hope you found something in it that helped you. Whatever the case may be. Bye, fam. Stay prayed up. Don't let nobody dictate your mood. Do something good for yourself. Always do something good for yourself. And do something good for somebody else. Bye, y'all.